Shadows of Deception. Chapter 1. Monica's Life. Monica Parker was a woman of grace and quiet strength. She had built a life she cherished with her husband, Ryan, in their charming suburban home. Nestled in a picturesque neighborhood, their house was an extension of Monica's personality, warm, inviting, and filled with the subtle elegance of her artistic touch. The front yard boasted a meticulously tended garden, vibrant with flowers in every hue, echoing the colors she loved to use in her paintings. Inside, the home was a cozy sanctuary, decorated with soft pastels, tasteful art pieces, and personal mementos that told the story of their life together. Monica's passion was her art. Her home studio, a converted attic space, was her haven. The room was flooded with natural light from the large south-facing windows, illuminating the array of canvases, brushes, and paints that filled the space. Each canvas told a different story, often reflecting the serene and harmonious life she believed she had. Her works were filled with scenes of peaceful landscapes, tranquil seascapes, and tender moments of daily life, capturing the beauty she saw in the world. Monica spent her days in this studio, lost in her work. She had a routine that she cherished, mornings spent in the garden, afternoons in her studio, and evenings preparing dinner with Ryan, sharing stories of their day. Her paintings were not just a hobby, they were an expression of her soul, a way to communicate her inner thoughts and feelings. Each stroke of her brush was imbued with the emotions she found difficult to express in words. She was kind-hearted, always ready to lend a helping hand to neighbors and friends. Her trusting nature was a defining trait, often seeing the best in people even when others couldn't. This trust extended to her relationship with Ryan. Monica believed in the strength of their bond, built on years of love, understanding, and shared dreams. She adored Ryan and often painted scenes that celebrated their life together: a picnic in the park, a quiet evening by the fireplace, or a walk by the lakeside. Monica's life was also filled with community involvement. She volunteered at the local community center, teaching art classes to children and organizing exhibitions for local artists. Her gentle and encouraging demeanor made her a beloved figure in the community, someone people felt comfortable turning to for advice and support. She took pride in nurturing young talent, believing in the transformative power of art to heal and inspire. Her relationship with Ryan was the cornerstone of her happiness. They had met in college, and their connection had been immediate and profound. Ryan, with his charm and ambition, had swept her off her feet. Over the years, their love had grown deeper, weathering the storms of life together. Monica admired Ryan's drive and supported his career wholeheartedly, even though his frequent business trips meant they often spent time apart. She trusted him implicitly, confident in the love they shared. Their evenings together were a cherished ritual. Ryan would return from work, and they would prepare dinner together, enjoying the simple pleasures of each other's company. Monica loved these moments, the laughter and conversation, the feeling of completeness that came from being with the man she loved. She never questioned the time he spent away, believing his assurances that his trips were necessary for their future security and happiness. In her quiet moments, Monica would often reflect on her life, feeling a deep sense of gratitude for everything she had. Her art, her home, her community, and most importantly, her relationship with Ryan were the pillars of her world. She felt blessed and fulfilled, confident in the path they were on together. Little did she know that the serene and harmonious life she had built was about to be shattered, testing the very foundations of her trust and resilience. Chapter 2. Ryan's World. Ryan Parker was a successful businessman whose life was a whirlwind of meetings, travel, and high-stakes negotiations. His career in the corporate world had afforded him a lifestyle of luxury and influence, and he thrived on the adrenaline of his fast-paced job. Ryan was the type of man who commanded attention as soon as he entered a room, his presence marked by a confident stride and a magnetic smile. His charisma was a powerful tool, one that opened doors and forged connections in the world of business. His days were packed with back-to-back meetings, strategic discussions, and deal-making, leaving him little time for rest. His work took him to major cities around the world, and he often found himself on planes, traveling from one corporate hub to another. Ryan's success was built on his relentless ambition and drive, qualities that propelled him to the top of his field. He had a natural ability to connect with people, to charm and persuade, which was invaluable in his line of work. Despite the demanding nature of his career, Ryan was outwardly devoted to his wife, Monica. Their relationship had been the foundation of his life for years, and he often spoke of her with deep affection and pride. He would call her from his travels, sending texts of longing and sharing glimpses of the exotic locations he visited. Ryan's love for Monica was genuine, but it was also tinged with a need for excitement that sometimes led him astray. His charm made him a popular figure in social circles, and he enjoyed the spotlight that came with his success. At corporate events, social gatherings, and charity functions, Ryan was the life of the party. His stories captivating and his laughter infectious. People admired him not just for his professional achievements, but for his ability to make every interaction seem personal and meaningful. However, Ryan's ambition had a darker side. His relentless pursuit of success sometimes blurred the lines of his moral compass. The high-stakes world he inhabited was full of temptations, and Ryan found himself drawn to the thrill of novelty and the allure of forbidden excitement. While he was committed to Monica, the demands of his career and the allure of new experiences often led him to cross ethical boundaries. Ryan's lifestyle was marked by frequent absences from home, which he justified as necessary sacrifices for their future. Monica's unwavering support and trust in him were both a comfort and a source of guilt for Ryan. He knew that his frequent travels and the seductive environment of his professional life created opportunities for him to stray, but he rationalized these actions as isolated incidents, never truly acknowledging the impact on his marriage. His ambition was a double-edged sword. On one hand, it drove him to achieve great heights in his career, securing lucrative deals and gaining recognition in his field. On the other hand, it made him vulnerable to the pitfalls of success, temptations that could easily erode the life he had built with Monica. The conflict between his desire for excitement and his love for his wife was a constant undercurrent in his life, one that he struggled to reconcile. As he navigated the complex landscape of his career, Ryan was aware of the precarious balance he maintained. The thrill of new experiences and the validation of his professional success often overshadowed his commitment to Monica. Yet, beneath the veneer of his charismatic persona and the facade of his successful career, there was a man grappling with the consequences of his choices, caught between the allure of his ambitions and the love he felt for his wife. Chapter 3. The Business Trip. Ryan Parker's business trip abroad was a whirlwind of high-stakes meetings and glamorous events, a stark contrast to the quiet stability of his home life. He had arrived in the bustling city, filled with anticipation for the opportunities and connections that awaited him. The city was alive with energy, its skyline dotted with towering skyscrapers and its streets teeming with activity. Ryan was immersed in a world of corporate power plays, luxurious hotel suites, and exclusive dinners. One evening, after a particularly grueling day of negotiations, Ryan attended a sophisticated networking event held at a high-end rooftop lounge. The venue was as extravagant as the city itself, with floor-to-ceiling windows offering panoramic views of the glittering skyline. The room was filled with influential figures from various industries, all mingling and exchanging business cards. It was amidst this sea of influential professionals that Ryan first encountered Diana. She was unlike anyone he had ever met. Her entrance into the room was marked by an undeniable presence. She moved with an effortless grace that drew the eyes of everyone around her. Diana was captivating, her beauty striking and her confidence magnetic. She wore an elegant, form-fitting dress that highlighted her curves and complemented her radiant complexion. Her dark, wavy hair cascaded over her shoulders, framing her face and accentuating her intense, alluring eyes. Diana's charm was immediate and disarming. She had an innate ability to make people feel special and seen, and she used this skill with calculated precision. As she approached Ryan, their eyes met, and there was an instant, undeniable spark. Diana was bold and unashamed in her approach, her demeanor both provocative and intriguing. She engaged Ryan in conversation with a natural ease, her voice smooth and persuasive. Her words were laced with subtle flirtation, and she seemed to understand exactly how to captivate him. The initial conversation between them was light and flirtatious, but it quickly deepened as Diana skillfully navigated the discussion toward more personal topics. She asked about Ryan's life, his passions, and his ambitions, showing genuine interest and making him feel valued. Her attention was intoxicating, and Ryan found himself drawn to her not just physically, but emotionally. As the evening progressed, Diana's allure only intensified. The more Ryan interacted with her, the more he felt a powerful attraction that he couldn't resist. Diana exuded an air of mystery and excitement, and her presence was a stark contrast to the familiar routine of his life. She spoke of her own experiences with a sense of adventure and freedom, painting a picture of a life that was both thrilling and unpredictable. By the end of the night, Ryan and Diana had grown close. They exchanged contact information, their conversation having flowed effortlessly from professional topics to more intimate and personal revelations. There was a palpable chemistry between them, one that neither could deny. Diana was drawn to Ryan's power and success, seeing him as a fascinating and enticing conquest. Her interest in him was driven by her love for excitement and the thrill of wielding influence over a high-profile individual like Ryan. Their affair began shortly after that initial meeting. It was a whirlwind of passion, an intense and brief escapade that swept both of them away. Diana's approach was bold and manipulative. She knew exactly how to push Ryan's buttons, leading him to pursue her with fervor. Their time together was marked by a series of passionate encounters, each one more exhilarating than the last. Diana reveled in the power she held over him, her actions calculated to maximize the emotional and physical impact of their affair. For Ryan, the affair was both a thrilling escape from his routine and a dangerous indulgence. The excitement of being with Diana provided a stark contrast to the stability of his life with Monica. The whirlwind romance was intoxicating, offering a sense of liberation and novelty that Ryan craved. Diana's allure was irresistible, and he found himself caught in a cycle of desire and guilt, unable to break free from the magnetic pull of their connection. Their time together was brief, but left a profound impact on both of them. For Ryan, it was a momentary departure from his committed life, a tantalizing taste of a different kind of excitement. For Diana, it was another conquest in her pursuit of power and thrill. Their affair was a vivid, high-stakes drama, one that would have far-reaching consequences once the business trip ended and their paths diverged. Chapter 4. The Encounter in the Park. Weeks after Ryan's intense and fleeting affair with Diana, life seemed to have returned to its routine. Ryan and Monica had settled back into their everyday existence, their relationship maintaining a semblance of normalcy. Ryan had returned from his business trip, and although he had tried to bury the guilt of his indiscretion, a shadow of unease lingered in the corners of his mind. It was a crisp autumn afternoon when Monica and Ryan decided to take a leisurely walk in their favorite park. The park was a serene escape from the hustle of daily life, with its winding paths lined with vibrant fall foliage, the air filled with the scent of damp earth and fallen leaves. Monica and Ryan strolled hand in hand, enjoying the peaceful environment and the rare chance to connect in the tranquility of nature. Monica was wrapped in a cozy knitted scarf and a light wool coat, her cheeks flushed from the cool air. She chatted animatedly about her latest painting project, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. Ryan, in his casual jacket and jeans, listened with a smile, though his thoughts occasionally drifted. The familiarity of the park and the comfort of Monica's presence were a welcome relief from the stress of his work. As they rounded a bend in the path, the idyllic scene was abruptly disrupted. Diana appeared seemingly out of nowhere, emerging from behind a cluster of trees. Her entrance was dramatic and unexpected. She was dressed in a striking red coat that contrasted sharply with the subdued autumn palette. Her presence was immediate and commanding, her eyes locked onto Ryan with an intensity that made the world around them seem to fade away. Without hesitation, Diana approached Ryan and Monica. Her movements were graceful and deliberate, and she seemed oblivious to the stunned expressions on their faces. Diana rushed up to Ryan, her arms outstretched as if she were reuniting with an old friend. She enveloped him in a tight embrace, pressing her body against his with an intimacy that was both surprising and uncomfortable. Ryan's reaction was swift and defensive. His face turned pale with a mix of shock and discomfort. He gently but firmly pushed Diana away, creating space between them. His heart raced as he tried to regain composure, his mind scrambling for a plausible explanation. He quickly turned to Monica, his voice tense and hurried. "Monica, I can explain. This is Diana. She's just a business acquaintance." Monica's initial reaction was one of confusion. Her trusting nature made her hesitant to jump to conclusions. She looked at Ryan, then at Diana, trying to piece together the situation. Despite the apparent familiarity between Diana and Ryan, Monica chose to believe her husband's explanation. She wanted to trust him, and the rational part of her mind sought to make sense of the encounter. Diana, unfazed by Ryan's reaction, maintained a calm and composed demeanor. She offered a polite, albeit slightly strained, smile to Monica. "Hello, Monica. I didn't expect to see you here," she said, her voice smooth and controlled. There was a hint of amusement in her eyes, as if she enjoyed the disruption she had caused. Monica managed a polite smile in return, though her eyes were filled with questions. "Hi, Diana. It's a surprise to see you here." She tried to sound casual, but there was an underlying tension in her tone. She turned to Ryan, her brow furrowed with concern. "What's going on? Why is she here?" Ryan, feeling cornered, struggled to find the right words. "We were just catching up, Diana and I," he said, his voice strained. "It's been a while since we last saw each other. Diana was in town for some business, and we ran into each other." Monica nodded slowly, trying to absorb the information. Despite the oddity of the encounter, she trusted Ryan's explanation and decided not to press further in the public setting of the park. Diana's presence was jarring, but Monica's desire to believe in the stability of her marriage outweighed her suspicions. As the three of them stood there in the park, the idyllic scene seemed to shift. The once serene atmosphere was now tinged with unease. Ryan's mind raced with anxiety, trying to navigate the situation and mitigate any potential fallout. Diana's gaze lingered on Ryan with a knowing look, adding to the tension that hung in the air. After a few moments of strained conversation, Diana excused herself, suggesting that she needed to continue with her plans. Her departure was as abrupt as her arrival, leaving Ryan and Monica standing in the park, their peaceful walk now overshadowed by the unexpected encounter. Monica turned to Ryan, her face a mix of concern and confusion. "Are you sure everything's all right?" she asked softly, her trust in him unwavering but her curiosity piqued. Ryan nodded, offering a reassuring smile. "Yes, everything's fine. I'll explain more when we get home." As they resumed their walk, the park seemed quieter, the beauty of the autumn afternoon diminished by the unsettling encounter. Monica tried to shake off her unease, focusing on the conversation with Ryan and attempting to ignore the doubts that had begun to creep into her mind. The encounter with Diana had planted a seed of suspicion, but for now, Monica chose to hold on to her belief in the strength of her marriage and the man she loved. Chapter 5. Diana's Persistence. As Monica and Ryan returned from the park, the encounter with Diana lingered in Monica's mind. She couldn't shake the sense of unease that had settled over her, though she tried to focus on their day and push the odd meeting to the back of her mind. Little did she know that the encounter was only the beginning of Diana's intricate and manipulative plans. Diana, with her characteristic boldness and determination, had followed the couple discreetly as they made their way back to their home. She maintained a careful distance, ensuring that Monica and Ryan were unaware of her pursuit. Once they had arrived and entered their charming suburban house, Diana seized the opportunity to put her plan into action. The house, with its inviting warmth and artistic touches, was a reflection of Monica's personality. The front door had just closed behind Ryan and Monica when Diana approached. She had dressed strategically, her attire designed to be both approachable and unassuming. She wore a simple yet elegant outfit, a soft, cream-colored blouse and a knee-length skirt that blended well with the suburban surroundings, helping her to appear as an innocent visitor rather than a calculated intruder. Diana rang the doorbell, her heart racing with anticipation. The sound was cheerful and inconspicuous, adding to the facade of normalcy she aimed to project. Monica, in her hospitable nature, answered the door with a warm smile, her expression shifting to one of mild surprise upon seeing Diana standing there. "Hello," Monica greeted, her voice polite but laced with curiosity. "You're the woman we saw at the park, aren't you?" Diana returned the smile, her demeanor friendly and composed. "Yes, that's right. I'm Diana. I was hoping to catch up with Ryan, but it seems I've come at an inopportune time. I'm actually Ryan's cousin visiting from out of town. I was hoping to surprise him." Monica's initial surprise was quickly replaced by her characteristic kindness. She had always been open and welcoming, qualities that were deeply ingrained in her nature. She invited Diana inside, stepping aside to allow her entry. "Of course, please come in. Ryan isn't home at the moment, but I'm sure he'll be pleased to see you when he gets back." As Diana stepped into the house, she took in her surroundings with a practiced eye. The interior was warm and inviting, with soft lighting and personal touches that spoke of Monica's artistic flair. Diana's mind was already working, her calculating nature ready to exploit every detail she observed. Monica led Diana into the living room, where they settled on the plush sofa. She offered Diana a cup of tea, her hospitality evident in her attentive and friendly manner. "I'm Monica, by the way. It's nice to meet you, even if the circumstances are a bit unusual. What brings you to town?" Diana accepted the tea with a gracious smile, her eyes twinkling with a mixture of charm and hidden intent. "Thank you, Monica. I've been meaning to catch up with Ryan for a while. It's been ages since we last saw each other. I thought it would be nice to reconnect and spend some time together while I'm here." As the conversation unfolded, Diana skillfully wove her narrative, portraying herself as a well-meaning relative with a genuine interest in reconnecting with family. She asked Monica about her life, her interests, and her marriage, all the while observing Monica's responses with a keen and calculating eye. Diana's true nature was one of manipulation. She enjoyed playing psychological games and knew how to exploit the vulnerabilities of others to her advantage. Monica, though intrigued, remained trusting and open. She spoke about her art, her relationship with Ryan, and their life together, unaware of Diana's ulterior motives. Diana listened attentively, occasionally offering sympathetic nods and thoughtful remarks that made Monica feel understood and valued. This facade of empathy and concern was part of Diana's strategy to gain Monica's trust and establish a foothold in their lives. As the hours passed, Diana's demeanor remained friendly and engaging, yet there was an underlying edge to her interactions. She subtly planted seeds of doubt and curiosity, steering the conversation to touch on sensitive topics and personal details. Her questions, though seemingly innocent, were designed to probe into the couple's relationship and uncover any potential weaknesses she could exploit. Diana's enjoyment of psychological manipulation was evident in the way she played her role. She reveled in the power she wielded through her calculated charm and subtle influence, taking pleasure in the discomfort and uncertainty she created. Her presence in the house was a deliberate intrusion, a carefully orchestrated act of manipulation aimed at destabilizing Monica and, by extension, Ryan. By the time Ryan returned home, Diana had positioned herself as a familiar and somewhat endearing guest. Her conversation with Monica had been strategically crafted to build rapport and create a sense of connection. When Ryan walked through the door, he was greeted by the sight of Diana sitting comfortably in the living room, her demeanor unchanged. Ryan's reaction was one of surprise and discomfort. His initial shock was quickly masked by a forced smile as he greeted Diana. "Diana, what a surprise to see you here." Diana rose from her seat with a warm smile, her expression one of feigned delight. "Ryan, I'm so glad to see you. Monica has been kind enough to let me stay while I'm in town." Ryan's mind raced as he tried to navigate the situation. He could see the wheels turning in Monica's mind, the questions forming as she tried to reconcile the unexpected visit. Diana's presence was both an intrusion and a challenge, a test of Ryan's ability to manage the complexities of his secret life. As the evening unfolded, Diana's calculated interactions with both Ryan and Monica continued. Her presence in their home was a carefully planned maneuver, designed to create tension, sow seeds of doubt, and ultimately test the boundaries of their trust and relationship. Chapter 6. The Uncomfortable Reunion. When Ryan Parker returned home, the tranquility of the evening was shattered by an unexpected and disconcerting sight. The front door creaked open, and Ryan stepped into the house, expecting a quiet night with his wife. Instead, he was greeted by the unsettling sight of Monica and Diana sitting together in the living room. The atmosphere was charged with a tension that Ryan could instantly feel. Monica, sitting on the edge of the couch with a cup of tea, looked up at Ryan with a mixture of curiosity and confusion. Diana, perched gracefully in an armchair, greeted Ryan with a bright but unsettlingly knowing smile. Her posture was relaxed, almost too relaxed, as if she had been waiting for this moment. Ryan's face fell as he took in the scene. His immediate reaction was one of shock and anxiety. He forced a smile and tried to maintain his composure, but his heart raced as he processed the situation. "Diana, what are you doing here?" he asked, his voice strained. Diana's expression remained calm and composed. She rose from her seat, her movement smooth and deliberate. "Ryan, I'm glad you're home. I was just getting to know Monica a bit better. We've had a lovely conversation." Ryan's gaze shifted to Monica, who looked up at him with a questioning expression. "I thought you said Diana was just a business acquaintance," she said, her tone carrying a hint of hurt and confusion. Ryan hesitated, his mind racing as he tried to formulate a response. Diana, sensing his discomfort, decided to take control of the situation. She stepped closer to Ryan and spoke in a low, measured tone that only he could hear. "Ryan, I think it's time we had a little chat, alone." Ryan's anxiety spiked. He glanced at Monica, whose expression was a mix of concern and bewilderment. "Monica, can we talk in the kitchen for a moment?" he suggested, his voice tight. Monica nodded, reluctantly setting her cup of tea aside and following Ryan into the kitchen. As soon as they were alone, Ryan's voice took on a more urgent tone. "Diana, what's going on? Why are you here?" Diana's eyes gleamed with a mix of satisfaction and mischief. "Ryan, I'm here to make a deal. I know about the affair and I'm willing to keep it a secret for a price. I want to stay here with you and Monica for a week." Ryan's face turned pale as the weight of Diana's ultimatum sank in. "Are you out of your mind? I can't have you living here. This is crazy." Diana's smile remained unyielding. "Think about it, Ryan. If you refuse, I'll have no choice but to share the details of our little rendezvous with Monica. I'm sure she'd be quite interested to hear about it." Ryan was trapped. The thought of Monica discovering the truth was unbearable. The pressure of the situation forced him into a reluctant agreement. "All right, fine. You can stay for a week, but you need to keep this between us." Diana's smile widened. "Excellent. I'll be on my best behavior. You won't regret this." As Diana rejoined Monica in the living room, Ryan's mind was in turmoil. He felt cornered and desperate, but he had to maintain a facade of normalcy. He forced a smile and attempted to engage in casual conversation with Monica, who was visibly unsettled by the tension between him and Diana. Monica tried to make the best of the situation, offering Diana a tour of the house and engaging in polite conversation. She couldn't shake the feeling that something was off, but her trust in Ryan remained strong, and she chose to focus on the positive aspects of the situation. Chapter 7. A week of tension. The week that followed was marked by an undercurrent of tension and unease. Diana's presence in the household was a constant source of strain. Her behavior was carefully calculated to stir discord and discomfort, while maintaining a veneer of civility and charm. From the moment Diana moved in, the atmosphere in the house became increasingly strained. Diana's interactions with Ryan were laced with subtle flirtation and innuendo, her words and gestures designed to provoke and unsettle him. She would brush against him casually, her gaze lingering a moment too long, and her conversation often carried double meanings that only Ryan understood. Monica, meanwhile, remained in the dark about the true nature of Diana's visit. She was puzzled by the strange dynamic between her husband and their guest. She noticed that Ryan was increasingly distant, his mood shifting between anxiety and irritation. The once warm atmosphere of their home felt colder, and Monica found herself caught in a web of confusion and concern. Despite her efforts to remain hospitable, Diana's actions were impossible to ignore. She made a point of drawing attention to her past interactions with Ryan, often making vague references to shared experiences that left Monica feeling uneasy. For instance, Diana would mention how she and Ryan had shared many memorable moments in a way that seemed deliberately suggestive. Monica's suspicions grew, but she was unable to pinpoint the cause of her discomfort. She would catch glimpses of Ryan's strained expressions and overhear snippets of private conversations between him and Diana. But the pieces of the puzzle didn't quite fit together. Monica tried to address her concerns with Ryan, but he would dismiss her worries with practiced ease, reassuring her that everything was fine. The tension between Ryan and Diana was palpable, and Monica's attempts to maintain a sense of normalcy felt increasingly futile. The dynamic between the three of them was fraught with unspoken tension, and every interaction seemed tinged with an underlying sense of discord. As the week progressed, Monica found herself caught between her desire to believe in Ryan's fidelity and the growing unease she felt in Diana's presence. She tried to remain supportive and understanding, but the strain of the situation was taking its toll on her peace of mind. Chapter 8. Diana's Manipulations. Diana reveled in the psychological games she played with Ryan and Monica. Her manipulation was subtle but effective, designed to create confusion and amplify the tension within the household. She took great pleasure in playing mind games, using her knowledge of Ryan's affair to provoke anxiety and doubt. One of Diana's favorite tactics was to drop suggestive hints about her past with Ryan. She would make offhand comments about their intense connection and their adventures together, each remark carefully crafted to plant seeds of doubt in Monica's mind. Diana would recount seemingly innocuous anecdotes with a suggestive tone, her words laced with implications that Monica couldn't quite grasp but felt deeply unsettling. For example, Diana might recount a story about a time when she and Ryan had shared a special evening, or discuss how they had worked closely on a project that brought them incredibly close. These comments, though veiled in vagueness, were designed to evoke suspicion and discomfort in Monica. Ryan's anxiety and irritability grew as he struggled to manage the situation. He was constantly on edge, his attempts to maintain a facade of normalcy becoming increasingly strained. The constant presence of Diana and her calculated provocations left him feeling trapped and defensive. He found himself becoming short-tempered and defensive, unable to cope with the mounting pressure. Monica, meanwhile, wrestled with her growing suspicions. She was caught between her instinctive trust in Ryan and the unsettling behavior she observed. The contrast between Ryan's increasingly erratic behavior and Diana's calculated charm left her feeling conflicted and uncertain. She wanted to believe that Ryan was faithful, but the evidence of Diana's manipulations was hard to ignore. Diana's enjoyment of the psychological manipulation was evident in her demeanor. She would watch with satisfaction as Monica's confidence eroded and as Ryan's stress levels soared. The more she succeeded in creating friction between them, the more she relished in her sense of control and power. The week was a grueling test of trust and endurance for both Monica and Ryan. Monica's efforts to reconcile her suspicions with her desire to believe in Ryan's fidelity were met with increasing difficulty. Ryan, trapped in a web of deception and manipulation, struggled to maintain his composure and protect the fragile stability of his marriage. Diana, in turn, continued to weave her intricate web of deceit, savoring the chaos and emotional turmoil she had orchestrated. Chapter 9. The Final Day. The final day of Diana's stay arrived with an unsettling quiet. Monica woke up early, feeling a mix of anticipation and dread. As she went about her morning routine, she noticed that Diana's room was eerily silent, with no sign of the woman who had been such a disruptive presence over the past week. When Monica went to check on Diana, she found the room empty. The bed was neatly made, and Diana's belongings were gone. On the bedside table, Monica found a simple white envelope. Her heart raced as she opened it, revealing a single sheet of paper with a stark, chilling message scrawled in neat handwriting. Cheating. The word hit Monica like a physical blow. Her heart pounded in her chest, and she felt a wave of nausea and despair wash over her. The realization was crushing. Diana had been Ryan's mistress, and her worst fears had been confirmed. The pain and betrayal she felt were overwhelming, and tears streamed down her face as she tried to make sense of the note and what it meant for her marriage. Despite the agony she felt, Monica made a deliberate choice not to confront Ryan immediately. She decided to keep the note a secret, opting instead to devise a plan to address the betrayal on her own terms. The decision to withhold the truth was driven by her desire for control and retribution. She wanted to make Ryan feel the full weight of his actions, to experience the emotional turmoil she had endured. Monica spent the rest of the day in a daze, her mind racing with thoughts of revenge. She avoided Ryan as much as possible, using the time to collect her thoughts and strategize. Her emotions were a whirlwind of grief, anger, and determination. Chapter 10. The Silent Suffering. In the days following Diana's departure, Monica maintained a facade of normalcy. She continued her daily routines, engaging in conversations with Ryan as though nothing had changed. However, beneath the surface, she was deeply affected by the betrayal. Monica channeled her tumultuous emotions into her art, which became darker and more intense. Her paintings, once filled with serene landscapes and harmonious colors, now reflected her inner turmoil. The canvases were dominated by harsh, brooding colors and jagged lines, depicting scenes of isolation, conflict, and raw, unfiltered emotion. The change in her art was a manifestation of her inner suffering, a way to process and externalize the pain she was experiencing. Ryan, sensing a shift in Monica's behavior, felt a gnawing sense of unease. He couldn't pinpoint the cause of the change, but he noticed that Monica had become more distant and reserved. Her responses were shorter, and she seemed preoccupied, often lost in thought. This distance only heightened Ryan's guilt and anxiety about the affair and Diana's visit. He tried to convince himself that the ordeal was over, but he was haunted by the nagging feeling that something was wrong. Monica's outwardly normal behavior masked the storm brewing inside her. She wore a mask of calm and composure, even as her heart ached with the weight of the betrayal. Her interactions with Ryan were polite but emotionally distant, and she avoided any discussions about Diana or the past week's events. This deliberate detachment was part of her plan to keep Ryan off balance, to make him question his understanding of their relationship and his actions. Chapter 11. The Plan Unfolds. Monica's plan to make Ryan feel the consequences of his infidelity began to take shape. She began to subtly manipulate situations and conversations to create a sense of unease and guilt in Ryan. Her actions were calculated and deliberate, aimed at making Ryan confront his actions indirectly. During conversations, Monica would casually mention topics related to infidelity and trust. She would reference news stories about cheating scandals or discuss hypothetical scenarios involving betrayal and deception. These conversations were carefully designed to remind Ryan of his actions without directly accusing him. Her comments were laced with a subtle, accusatory tone that was intended to make Ryan uncomfortable. Monica's demeanor became colder and more distant. She would withhold affection and intimacy, creating a palpable emotional gap between them. This change in behavior further confused Ryan, who struggled to understand the cause of Monica's sudden shift. His attempts to bridge the gap and regain her trust were met with polite but detached responses. Ryan's confusion and guilt began to erode his sense of stability. He found himself constantly second-guessing his actions and scrutinizing every interaction with Monica. The emotional distance between them grew, and Ryan's sense of insecurity deepened. He was tormented by the realization that he had hurt Monica and was now paying the price for his actions. Monica's manipulations were effective in making Ryan feel uneasy and guilty. Her actions were designed to make him reflect on the impact of his betrayal and to experience a fraction of the emotional suffering she had endured. As the days passed, Monica continued to play her role, determined to make Ryan face the consequences of his infidelity in a way that was both impactful and meaningful. The tension in their relationship was palpable, a reflection of the emotional and psychological struggle that both Monica and Ryan were experiencing. Monica's plan was unfolding, and as she carried out her carefully crafted revenge, she found a sense of empowerment in reclaiming control over the narrative of her life. Chapter 12. The Turning Point. Monica Parker meticulously planned a pivotal moment to make Ryan confront the full extent of her emotional suffering. She decided to fabricate a diary, a carefully crafted document that would lay bare her anguish and her awareness of the affair. The diary was a painstakingly detailed account of her emotional journey, written in a style that mirrored her genuine voice, but with added elements of her pain and betrayal. She placed the diary in a spot where Ryan was likely to find it, a drawer in the home office where Ryan occasionally worked late into the night. The diary was designed to be discovered accidentally, ensuring that Ryan's encounter with it would be as impactful as possible. Monica's hope was that reading her words would force Ryan to confront the true extent of his betrayal and its emotional impact on her. When Ryan found the diary, he was initially unaware of its significance. He opened it casually, expecting it to be a personal journal or a collection of random thoughts. As he began to read, however, the words slowly drew him into Monica's world of anguish and pain. The diary detailed Monica's feelings of betrayal, isolation, and despair, recounting her journey from trust to heartbreak. It included references to specific moments and emotions that only someone close to her could have known. Ryan's heart sank as he read through the diary, each page revealing the depth of Monica's suffering and her realization of his affair. The narrative was raw and unfiltered, exposing her emotional turmoil with brutal honesty. The more he read, the more he was consumed by guilt and regret. The realization that Monica had been quietly enduring such pain while he remained oblivious was a crushing blow. Overwhelmed, Ryan confronted Monica as soon as he could, his face pale and eyes red with distress. "Monica, I read the diary. I had no idea. I'm so sorry. I didn't know you were feeling this way. Please, we need to talk." Monica, however, remained stoic and unresponsive. Her expression was a mask of controlled calm, hiding the tumult of emotions she was experiencing. She watched as Ryan struggled with his guilt, his voice breaking with remorse. Her silence was a deliberate choice, a way to make him feel the full weight of his actions without offering any immediate comfort or forgiveness. Ryan's pleas fell on deaf ears as Monica continued to remain detached. The confrontation was a crucial turning point, not only for Ryan's realization of the depth of his betrayal, but also for Monica's resolve to maintain her stance. She was resolute in her decision to let Ryan suffer, to make him fully grasp the consequences of his actions. Chapter 13. Monica's Revenge. Monica's plan for revenge reached its climax at a public gallery exhibition she had meticulously organized. The event was a showcase of her new artwork, a dramatic departure from her previous, more serene pieces. The gallery was filled with dark, intense paintings that reflected her emotional journey and the turmoil she had experienced. The centerpiece of the exhibition was a painting that captured the essence of her betrayal. The painting was a powerful and striking depiction of deceit, with a central figure that bore an unmistakable resemblance to Ryan. The artwork was a vivid portrayal of the feelings of betrayal, pain, and anguish Monica had endured. The character in the painting was shown in a compromising and humiliating position, surrounded by abstract representations of deceit and broken trust. The public unveiling of the painting was a moment of catharsis for Monica. As she stood among the guests, she observed the reactions to her artwork. The gallery was abuzz with murmurs and shocked gasps as people took in the intensity and emotion of the pieces on display. The painting of Ryan, in particular, drew significant attention, with viewers discussing its powerful impact and the apparent personal narrative behind it. Ryan attended the gallery exhibition, drawn by a mix of curiosity and desperation. He had been invited under the guise of being supportive, but the true purpose was to confront him with the public consequences of his betrayal. As he moved through the gallery, his eyes fell upon the centerpiece painting. The image struck him with a visceral force, and he felt a wave of shame and humiliation as he recognized the figure depicted. The realization that Monica had used her art to expose and confront his betrayal in such a public and personal manner was devastating. The shame he felt was palpable, and he was overwhelmed by the sight of Monica's powerful expression of pain and anger. For Monica, the exhibition was a moment of profound release. It was her way of reclaiming her narrative and expressing the depth of her feelings. The public exposure of Ryan's betrayal was a final cathartic step in her journey towards justice and self-empowerment. Chapter 14. The Aftermath. The aftermath of the exhibition left Ryan in a state of emotional and psychological disarray. The public exposure of his betrayal, coupled with Monica's unyielding stance, led to a profound breakdown. He was engulfed by feelings of guilt, shame, and regret, unable to escape the consequences of his actions. Ryan's pleas for Monica's forgiveness were desperate and sincere. He approached her with tearful apologies, his voice cracking with remorse. "Monica, please, I'm so sorry. I know I've hurt you deeply. I'll do anything to make it right. Please, forgive me." Monica's response was cold and distant. Her transformation from a trusting wife to a woman seeking justice for her betrayal was complete. She had found strength in her art and her newfound independence, and she remained resolute in her decision to hold Ryan accountable for his actions. While Ryan struggled to cope with his guilt and the public shaming, Monica found a sense of empowerment in her ability to control the narrative. She no longer felt like a passive victim, but rather an agent of change, using her art and her actions to assert her strength and reclaim her life. The emotional distance between Monica and Ryan remained, as Monica continued to focus on her own growth and healing. The journey had transformed her from a woman deeply hurt by betrayal into someone who had taken control of her life and her story. As she moved forward, Monica found solace in her art and a renewed sense of independence, ready to embrace a future defined by her own terms and choices. Chapter 15. A New Beginning. After the tumultuous events that unfolded, Monica Parker reached a critical decision. The betrayal she endured and the painful journey to reclaim her sense of self led her to the conclusion that she deserved more than a life with a man who had shattered her trust. Monica recognized that in order to truly heal and move forward, she needed to sever ties with Ryan completely. Monica meticulously planned her departure, ensuring that every detail was addressed. She chose a new city, a place where she could start afresh and immerse herself in a new environment. The decision to relocate was both symbolic and practical. It represented a clean break from her past and offered her the opportunity to redefine her life on her own terms. Packing up her belongings, Monica left behind not just her home, but also the life she had built with Ryan. Her move was marked by a mix of emotions, relief, sadness, and a renewed sense of hope. The process of packing was cathartic, allowing her to physically distance herself from the memories and experiences tied to her old life. Upon arriving in her new city, Monica embraced her fresh start with determination. She secured a charming apartment in a vibrant neighborhood, one that inspired her creativity and provided a sense of tranquility. Her new home was a blank canvas, much like her life, and she was ready to fill it with new experiences and possibilities. Monica re-established her art career in her new city, focusing on her craft with a renewed sense of purpose. Her art evolved to reflect her personal growth and resilience. The dark, intense pieces she had created during her period of suffering gave way to a more nuanced and dynamic body of work. She experimented with new techniques and themes, drawing on her experiences to create art that resonated with both her and her audience. As she settled into her new life, Monica found strength in her independence. The pain of the past gradually transformed into a source of empowerment. Her experiences made her more resilient and self-assured, allowing her to approach her new life with confidence and optimism. Meanwhile, Ryan was left to grapple with the aftermath of his actions. The guilt and regret he felt were overwhelming, and he found himself reflecting deeply on the mistakes he had made. He faced the consequences of his betrayal, both the emotional fallout with Monica and the public exposure of his actions. Ryan vowed to change, seeking ways to understand his behavior and work on himself. His journey towards self-improvement was fraught with challenges, but it was driven by a genuine desire to make amends and grow as a person. Chapter 16. Monica's Triumph. Monica's new life began to flourish as she settled into her role in the art community of her new city. Her exhibitions gained recognition, showcasing not just her technical skill, but also the depth of her emotional journey. The public responded positively to her work, finding inspiration and connection in the themes she explored. Monica's ability to translate her personal experiences into compelling art established her as a significant voice in the art world. In addition to her artistic success, Monica became an advocate for women who had experienced betrayal. Drawing from her own experiences, she began speaking at events and workshops, sharing her story and offering support to others facing similar challenges. Her advocacy work resonated with many, and she was praised for her courage and commitment to helping others navigate their own journeys of recovery and empowerment. Monica's story became an inspiration to many. Her ability to transform her pain into strength and creativity was celebrated, and she became a symbol of resilience and determination. She found peace and happiness in her new life, knowing that she had faced her challenges head-on and emerged stronger and more fulfilled. The public acknowledgement of her triumph was both a personal victory and a professional achievement. Monica's art and advocacy work were celebrated, affirming that her journey of self-discovery and empowerment had not only healed her, but also positively impacted others. Epilogue: The lessons learned. Monica's journey from a trusting wife to an empowered woman was a powerful testament to her resilience and inner strength. Her ability to overcome betrayal and transform her life was a reflection of her courage and determination. The experiences she faced, from the initial shock of the affair to her eventual triumph, underscored her capacity to reclaim her narrative and build a new life. Ryan's downfall served as a poignant reminder of the consequences of betrayal. His experiences highlighted the impact of his actions and the importance of integrity and honesty in relationships. The downfall of his marriage and the public exposure of his infidelity were a direct result of his failure to honor his commitments and the trust placed in him. Diana's role as the catalyst for the events that unfolded was significant. Her manipulation and deceit set the stage for the confrontation between Monica and Ryan. While Diana's actions were instrumental in exposing the affair, it was Monica's courage and resolve that ultimately defined the outcome. The lives of Monica, Ryan, and Diana were forever changed by the events that transpired. The shadows of deception gave way to the light of truth and self-discovery. Monica's journey was a testament to the strength of the human spirit and the power of personal transformation. As she continued to embrace her new life, she carried with her the lessons learned and the strength gained from her experiences, ready to face whatever the future held with grace and resilience.